Hey guys, here we are with part 1 of video 2 of the Discovery Docs series. Did you know that the autopsy reports found in the Discovery documents clearly state that Shannon and Bella and Cece were all healthy at the time of their deaths? Did you know that? It's right in the Discovery Docs. The autopsy reports state that Shannon was healthy and that the girls were both healthy too. But wait, for nearly 6 years since the tragedy occurred, we've been told that Shannon was so unhealthy, battling lupus and fibromyalgia and endometriosis and Sjogren's and who knows what else, because I remember the list was so long that I'm sure we've forgotten most of it by now. And she supposedly had high-risk pregnancies too. And remember, we were told she had fertility issues too, even though it sure does appear she was kind of a fertile myrtle. A fertile myrtle, like getting pregnant within 4 months of the wedding? And getting pregnant again? When little Bella was, just 10 months old? When was she having fertility issues? Well, that's what we were told. But the fact, F-A-C-T, fact, is that right in the Discovery documents, her autopsy report states that she was healthy prior to her death. Now, I'm not a medical person, but I do happen to have common sense. And common sense dictates that if she actually did have any of the so-called, quote, health challenges that she claimed to have, then surely there would have been some evidence of her claims in that autopsy report. Shortly after the tragedy occurred, one friend was interviewed who told the police officer that in his opinion, Shannon's health challenges were not physical. In my opinion, that's a nice way to put it. But let's take it a step further, because Shannon accepted money directly related to her claims, and poor little Bella and Cece were subjected to medications, and according to their paternal grandmother, every evening at 6:30 p.m. sharp. They were taken to doctors, they were taken to emergency rooms, they were hooked up to the nebulizers. Did you ever see that photo of Bella and Cece both hooked up to the nebulizer at the same time? Does that make sense to you? That two children would have needed nebulizer treatments at the same time? Does it make sense to you, really? Or does it make you wonder what was put in those nebulizer treatments? Also remember that Shannon Watts told many, however many she was connected to on social media, that one of the kids was deathly allergic and severely anaphylactic to nuts. Though it seems like after the tragedy occurred, there was some confusion as to exactly what she was allergic to, with some family members saying nuts and some family members saying peanuts. It sure seems to me, if a small child is deathly allergic and severely anaphylactic to anything, that the relatives would have known what that anything was. It sure seems to me that a woman claiming to have so many physical ailments, and a woman claiming to have 2 children who had so many physical ailments, that in the summer of 2018, when she claimed that she was spotting and cramping, that she would have sought medical care. And it seems to me, especially if she had fertility issues and high-risk pregnancies, that she would have seen her OBGYN by then. Just saying. Remember, both of the kids had to get tubes in their ears on the same day, no less. Isn't that kind of amazing? How 2 children needed tubes in their ears on the same day. You know, the same 2 children who needed nebulizer treatments at the same time. The same 2 children who, according to their paternal grandmother, were given Benadryl and Tylenol every evening at 6:30 p.m. sharp. Doesn't that seem kind of odd, that coincidence? As odd as that video when Shannon Watts looked right at the camera and smiled big and said that she gave both children lots of Tylenol. So think about it. She claimed that she had all sorts of ailments: lupus, fibromyalgia, Sjogren's, etc., etc., etc. She claimed that the girls had asthma, both of them. That the girls had stomach problems, problems swallowing food, all sorts of ailments. Wasn't it pneumonia one time? Didn't both of them have pneumonia? Or at least one of them did, and then she couldn't remember. After a trip to the emergency room the night before, she claimed, with both children, she couldn't remember what the second child was diagnosed with. And she said, she'll just have to get through it. Or something along those lines. She'll just have to get over it, or she'll just have to get through it, or something. Have you ever taken your child to an emergency room? What's the likelihood that the next morning, as your husband is taking care of the children, and you're making a video for your MLM friends, what's the likelihood that you wouldn't be able to remember what your child was diagnosed with? I'm sorry, but if it's important enough to take a child to an emergency room, I think it's important enough to remember the diagnosis. They were sick, supposedly, pretty much all the time. Both kids are sick again. Both kids are sick again. And it gets worse. Shannon also claimed at one point in one of those support groups that she seemed to enjoy frequenting, that little Bella was hearing voices and seeing people who weren't there. She also made claims that the doctors, the specialists, were leaning toward diagnosing both Bella and Cece with an extremely rare disease called familial Mediterranean fever. And it gets worse. According to Shannon, the kids were so sick that she was required to take their temperatures daily and to journal their temperatures, right? So that when she went back to the specialist with the children, that she'd be able to show them the temperature chart of their, their daily readings. And she chose to take their temperatures daily. At least Bella's, we know for sure because she said so. And we also saw how Shannon posted Bella trying to take her own temperature too, and her dolly's temperature too. And what made that also odd is that Shannon chose to take Bella's temperature daily by using a rectal thermometer. Bella was almost 5 years old. On what planet is that okay?